So 3 plus 2
Dead.
plus 6.
Is it dead?
So that's 11.
Yeah, 35.
No, it's
So
dead.
that's it. That is the end of it.
Oh, well, they got whacked. Alright.
Very nice. Well done, Gav. It was your... you
What
outpaced it in the end.
Upside down.
What happens when it dies?
I think it just dies. You just get the
We all
final
explode.
blow and it just goes dun 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 dun. Whatever the jingle is at the
cat.
end of Monster.
Jumps up.
We all crouch
You
around
get
it
in,
and
you
start
get in
carving.
there and you start carving away. Yeah.
So in the campaign version of the game, are there like mechanics for, gaining loot or monster parts or something?
Yeah, there are, and I think that's why if you look above, there's the different types of weapons and stuff that you get from doing.
Yeah, so I think
monsters.
so the demo, I think these are 4 pre-built, so you can do, so that was like the introductory scenario, but then there's also so they call it expeditions, which are like one-off hunts, which I think is a really nice feature to have in a game, because increasingly I'm like, I like the idea of a campaign game, but in practical terms they are tricky to organize and keep going. So I'm really appreciating games that have like a one-off thing, so you can just put it on the table and play it play it as a one-off session. So there's expedition mode where rather than leveling up and gaining loot, you just get a pre-built character, go and fight. And this seems to be an example of that. Let's have a look at some.
Yeah, okay. Tormat, the stony guy.
Choose a player's draw cards equal to the printed stamina cost of the top card. I mean, there's a lot of abilities to keep track of, but I do.
Once you have an
Actually,
ability attached to all of your items.
I kind of like it. I think you're right. There's a lot to keep track of, and it would probably take I reckon it'd take 3-4 games to kind of get into a rhythm with knowing how when to proc stuff, like the order and getting used to it. And I think it's interesting that the monsters do kind of change, but they don't change so much that I feel like you can't sort of guess what they're going to do.
I think eventually you get a little bit bored of fighting the same monsters, but
yeah, I know in the campaign that there's different threat levels and monsters, and they get different ones of these cards, the behavior cards, depending on their threat level. So they do different things there, I think, with it. But I don't know. I don't feel like I'm wasting my money, so that feels positive. So
quite fun.
Yeah, I think I guess they need to tidy up the rules. I think hopefully they take feedback from the demo. But I liked it. I thought it was a fun Monster Hunter game. I think 3 players would probably be the maximum I would want to play it with.
Yeah.
I think
4 would be too much.
Yeah, there'd be too
bit slow.
Yeah, just like the pace of it would go down. I think this feels like a really nice 2-player game, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
I feel like pace of stuff. You're just target all of the things where it's like choose another player. You don't have to think about, because it's just back and forth.
There is a bit of downtime waiting for the other players to work out their sequence, because there is a bit of kind of optimizing and kind of going, right, what do I do when, what's going to trigger what. There's a bit of to and fro in there, and I think with 2 people it becomes a bit more streamlined.
And when you don't, and it's and sometimes you don't have a say in when that downtime's happening, because it's like you accidentally trigger a cascade of bad effects that you're suddenly then having to resolve bit by bit. And that just kind of slows things down. And there's but yeah, I think as a 2-player, 3-player game, it's quite nice. I like it. And
that's good.
And getting to know your deck as well. I think depending on the variety of cards and how the upgrade system works.
I don't think it's too crazy. From looking at it, I think it looks fairly staggered throughout the campaign, from seeing the upgrade sort of tree.
Yeah.
It's not too wild.
I like the combo system and stuff, and
certain things depending on what weapon you pick. But I feel like, especially in the campaign, it looks like it kind of ramps up in a nice sort of steady format, because I think that was a good sort of enough, or maybe slightly too much for an introductory game.
So it's nice. How long did that take us? 2 hours?
2 hours, yeah.
With I guess explanation, we probably started closer to 8. Probably about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Well, I guess once you get more used to it, it'll probably go a little faster.
Yeah. I think that because I feel like it's definitely a thing that you want to play. I think it's a slightly difficult group to play with newer players. But I guess once you're host, if you know it very well, I can imagine it being a game where if you know it very well, then you can run it with new players fine because you know all the triggers. But it's a bit of a strain because
You
you're
can
having
do all
to.
the admin.
But like then it puts on all the admin on you to some extent because it's kind of on you to remember all the triggers whenever you're teaching. Like every time you bring it to new players, you're playing with a new group.
Yeah.
It's like
I suppose once you know it though, it's a bit more. I felt like we were getting to a rhythm of it towards the end, where it wasn't so much of a. You get used to when things happen. So it's not too bad. It's not like it's not. I mean, it's not Gloomhaven level of like lots of upkeep. It's not too bad actually. I think you're right though. I think maybe with 4 people that'd be more because there's a lot more dynamism in terms of what people are doing, and especially if each player's deck's so different, trying to keep track of all the different effects that ping off of everybody's things.
yeah, I think it's more just like I was more thinking about like monster triggers and just remembering. I think if you're teaching to other people, they're not going to remember about like the peril triggers and the behavior deck, and I feel like we kind of forgot about the objective card as well.
I kept trying to do it, but it was tricky to kind of get around the back.
I was just never in a position where I could. So
I mean, it wasn't too much of a. It was only 5 damage anyway. It was.
It didn't seem like that.
Well, it's 5 times the player count, so that'd be 15, right?
Oh, was it? I just thought it was 5. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I would love to talk about this loads more, but I should really go because we're about half an hour over our time.
Overspent.
I'll let you guys close out the stream, and I'll say goodbye to our people who may be watching, and I'll see you two later.
All right.
Goodbye.
See you later, Nevi.
Good hunting. And thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoyed our stumble into the realm of Primal Awakening. I don't think I mean, this was a Kickstarter. Basically, this was a Kickstarter that Nevi has backed. I don't think it's on Kickstarter anymore. It might be, but who knows? We should probably find out. Anyway,
yeah, maybe.
Thanks. Thanks very much, everyone. And now that Nevi's left, it's thrown Gav into the corner.